This is a post-Christian podcast.
Welcome to the Revolution Church podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Meet Your Congregation, where we do exactly what it's called, is you meet folks from the congregation. Today, it's me and Caleb, as always. Say hello, Caleb.
Hello, Caleb.
Today, we have someone who comes in person, miraculously enough, and we had a cancellation, and our friend was there today to help us. So I want to introduce Clifton Carter from right here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Clifton is an amazing tattoo artist, and he specializes in, I think, single needle, black and gray work, which is incredible, and we will definitely link you to his Instagram so you can see some of his work. And he's a really smart, intellectual guy, and if you follow him, you'll see in his stories he's got a lot of deep thoughts. But please welcome friend and tattoo artist at Leviticus Tattoo, Clifton. How's it going, man?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to the discussion.
Cool. So, how long have you been in Minnesota?
14 months.
14 months, yeah. I knew you hadn't been here very long, right?
Yeah. I survived the previous winter.
Nice, yeah.
Looking forward to this one.
Oh, it looks like it's going to be a bad one, yeah. When I came, it did not stop snowing during the summer. Like, it still snowed almost into the summer.
How long ago did you arrive?
About 6.5 years ago.
Okay.
Almost 7 years now.
All right.
Which is pretty crazy because that's how much time I was in Brooklyn, and I didn't think I'd be here that long. I was like, I'm going to stay until I'm 40.
Yeah.
I'll be 44 on the 18th of December. So.
Yep.
So, Cliff, it's funny because you were telling us earlier, but how did you find out? Well, one, I guess, how did you find out about Revolution? And then two, how did you find out that Revolution was here?
Yeah, the whole story is so crazy because I don't remember how I originally found out. I think I was Googling something and I saw a picture of you and you're all tattooed up. And then I Googled you and found you on social media. And then I heard you were doing this like bar and Bible thing. And actually, I love what is that? Bible bar in Brooklyn or
Bible bar in Brooklyn.
Alliteration? Yeah, alliteration. Okay, anyway. So yeah, I thought you were still in New York, but my coworker tattooed you. And he shared it in his story, and I saw it in his story, and I was like, "No way! Do you know who that is?" And he didn't, so I gave him the kind of Reader's Digest version of who you were, and
that was Colin.
Yeah.
Over at Leviticus Tattoo, he covered up my first ex-wife tattoo.
Yeah,
and he did my hand, my cross on my hand.
Totally. So anyway. Yeah, I was excited to hear that you were here, and I'd been following you for a while, so I had to, come check out what you were doing. Revolution Church, I didn't know that's what it was called. And I had listened to one of your previous podcasts where you interviewed Henry Rollins and Ron Jeremy.
Yeah.
And those are the two.
This is RadioCast.
Yeah. Did you interview Dressen on that one?
I did.
Okay, so I heard those
and
three.
And Dressen tattooed me, too, yeah.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah.
Super cool. Stoked he's, really back in the public eye with his skateboard.
Oh, me too. I mean, he's just, taking off. He's crazy. He's, in Japan all the time.
Yeah, so rad.
I love Eric Dressen.
So rad. I love his old video parts.
Oh, me too. And, we and him chat every now and then on Instagram. He's, a hell of a guy. When I was going through my divorce and stuff, he sent me packages full of stuff
rad.
And, shirts and stickers and hats. He's a really, rare to meet a professional skateboarder, professional tattoo artist who's still the kindest man you've ever met.
Totally.
He's definitely that.
Yeah. I think maybe Tim Hendricks helped him get into tattooing, and I'm a big fan of Tim Hendricks tattooing. Anyway.
Shop talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of funny. I was getting tattooed and you found out through that because that was somebody had bought me a gift certificate to Leviticus a year earlier, and I just was dragging my feet, and finally I was like, you know what, I gotta get this tattoo covered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Finally went in and got something done, but it took me over a year to do it.
Yeah, it's rad.
Timing's nice.
Yeah, it's so it's so trippy, the coincidences, and just philosophically, like how to figure out, like, I don't know, serendipity, or, from a, whatever, the God incidences or whatever, just I don't know how complex the randomness or of the universe is or whatever. But I'm stoked that we crossed paths.
And you've been to Revolution at Bryant Lake Bowl. Was this your third time today that you came?
I think.
Yeah, I think it's the third time I've seen you there.
I think so. You were talking about Calvinism, so I can't say I agree with you. I'm very critical of a purely deterministic future, although scientifically it's way more tempting. But anyway,
I know. Yeah,
but because, well,
that's why I say I don't care.
Yeah. But I'm thankful for recent quantum indeterminacy or whatever. But regardless, I can't say we were determined to cross paths or destiny. Or
yes.
Yeah. But it's still bizarre.
No, it's totally bizarre.
Pretty weird.
Yeah.
That's a fun story.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. Talking about.
To meet cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from a theistic perspective, it definitely makes you think, whoa, maybe there is more to the universe.
Yeah. It's a small world.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I was going to ask you what attracts you to coming to the physical church to the bowling alley, I guess.
Yeah, especially you're extremely intellectual, and I feel like Revolution's a little bit more like meat and potatoes sometimes.
Yeah. Well, oh man, so much. It is strange that. Okay, so first off, Jay, you're skateboarding, punk rock, tattooed, and that's my background.
Yeah.
So there's this like superficial, immediate like parallel or connection. I grew up Assemblies of God. You did too, right? Yeah. Okay, so I was a teenager, skateboarder, punk rocker, sitting in a small Assemblies of God church in Appalachia, right next to the railroad station and the river, and there were like 2 churches and a liquor store, and that's it. And your dad was in the news, and we prayed for him in our church. And then once again, fast forward, 35 years, and I'm sitting in your living room. And then my wife and I, my ex-wife, we watched Eyes of Tammy Faye Baker, and we were obsessed with that documentary, and we just thought she was the most amazing woman.
That was a good one.
And then, of course, listening to Radiocast with Ron Jeremy was fascinating. But anyway, yeah, it's really trippy. But I'm at a point where your kind of, not to label you, but your idea of, well, not your idea, but I've heard you mention the agnostic Christian thing.
Yeah.
And that resonates with me a lot. I phrase it differently. Lately, the term universalist has resonated with me more. I was saying hopeful universalist, but the word Christian's just become so problematic and lately, and no matter what a word I attach it to. So right. I don't want to, be condescending or alienate any listeners, but I do say that epistemologically, I'm still on the outer edges of Christianity as a heretic or whatever, but then ontologically, I'm totally agnostic. I shouldn't say totally agnostic. I am somewhat agnostic ontologically, but I still can't, no matter how much truth exists in the world, universal ideas of love and compassion and peace and stuff. But for me, coming from the West, the narrative of Jesus is just so powerful. You were talking a lot about Martin Luther King Jr. And of course, even outside of the West, I think about Tolstoy and Gandhi but anyway, yeah, so there is a lot of reasons why what you're doing resonates with me. And that little theater in the side of a bowling alley, like, it's really a cultural performance art thing. Like the fact that nothing wrong with prayer and meditation, but it's not a contemplative moment, which is cool, and nothing against contemplative moments. But there's no, like, there's no what's that word? Just I guess the ritual. We're not singing. It's just really cool. It's almost a spoken word performance thing.
Yeah.
Come in. There's this guy on stage on a stool. That kind of you do your talk, and it just feels so interesting and unique to me, for sure.
Well, I mean, it's funny because like Mark Maron, the comedian, and Henry Rollins, who has spoken word,
totally.
are kind of like two of my heroes of
Absolutely.
like speaking.
Vallely did that too.
Yeah.
And I love poetry. Like just whoever, like from Beatniks to Patti Smith to whoever. Like something about, or like I don't know, book tours, or when you go to a gallery or a museum and it's an artist talk.
Yeah,
I love that stuff. Like
me too.
Not that I'm at all against the ritual of more traditional ecclesiastical or whatever. I can't even think of the right word. But yeah, I'm not against that stuff. But it's a bit much sometimes. I'm not like as attached to the music or the ecclesiastical approach. And I feel like being that I don't associate that much with Christians, not that they're bad people. They're people, so of course, they're bad on some level and they're great on some level. Have you ever heard that quote? Sorry, tangent. Have you ever heard that quote from that guy that was in a Russian gulag for a while, and he said, "If only there was a group of people that the world would be better off without, evil people, but in reality, the line between good and evil runs right down the middle of every person."
That's great.
Yeah, it's so good. So anyway, I just don't associate with very many Christians. And what you're doing, I feel like anyone could come to it, which is I'm dating an atheist, and I really think she only uses that word because of how much Christianity, or specifically Catholicism, hurt her. Mm-hmm. But I feel relatively hopeful that she'll, not for any real reason, but it would be cool if she came with me to Revolution sometime.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have plenty of atheists who come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's rad. Mm-hmm. That's rad. Mm-hmm. I just heard this podcast about a guy that was doing Christian atheist groups, and I think that idea is really cool. There's that podcast, Unbelievable, that has atheists and Christians.
Yeah, I used to listen to that all the time.
Yeah.
With Chris, what's his name? Some British guy?
Yeah, it's an English podcast.
Mm-hmm. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's his theme song.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
I think that, I don't want to say anything bad about that podcast. I've gotten a lot out of listening to it and the conversations that he facilitates. He's definitely far, far more conservative than my own personal views.
Totally.
And he sometimes honestly seems to have a little bit of an agenda behind that. But I will say I do really appreciate the fact that he is actively creating spaces where respectful conversations can be held, even if the host does have his own bias, and everyone has their own bias.
He's so biased.
Yeah, he is biased.
It's frustrating.
Yeah,
but
he's still trying to facilitate conversations.
Yeah, and I'm glad that atheists are on there, but he says that both the atheist and the Christian have even time, but they don't. They don't. I really wish he was less biased, for sure. But for Christians, it's a great podcast, and he says that a lot of atheists listen to it, but it's super biased.
It's pretty biased,
but it is pretty intelligent on some level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. Cool. Well, we always ask the question, what, in your experience and engagement with Revolution, what are some things that you think that we could do better at, or that you'd like to see more of, or that we could adjust? Any sort of feedback, positive or negative? Is there anything that comes to mind?
It's utter perfection. There's
perfect imperfection.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Here's that $10 bill for me.
Yeah. Well, I heard Jay use the phrase unorganized religion, and it's perfect in its imperfection, for sure. And I have no criticism. I mean, I don't know what people's problem is. The room should be full every Sunday, but yeah, that's not a criticism of Revolution. It's just the best kept secret in the Twin Cities.
Hey, that's nice. That'd be a good
That should be
slogan.
our tagline.
Yeah,
Best
yeah,
kept secret
Totally.
in the Twin Cities.
We have like a secret knock to get in.
Yeah. Oh,
It's like a
absolutely.
speakeasy.
Yeah. Secret society.
Yeah. Are there any other cities cities? Are there any other churches in the Twin Cities that you also engage with or find any fulfillment out of at all? I know you mentioned, was it a sub plant of Woodland Hills that you were mentioning earlier to me?
Yeah, it's so weird. I moved here to do a 9-month unaccredited pilot program seminary through Woodland Hills, and I had read a bunch of Greg Boyd's books and was pretty obsessed for a while. Just really absorbing everything he had online from YouTube and podcasts and even like lectures that, finding obscure universities, a lot of Mennonite universities actually that post his stuff, lectures and everything.
Was that earlier in your deconstruction when you were more obsessed with Greg Boyd, or were you still kind of in the same mental space?
What's interesting is that he claims that his ideas, his theology have saved a lot of people's Christianity, a lot of people's faith. However, and he claims that because a lot of people have kind of this like God picture that isn't really beautiful, like particularly from a Calvinist background, because that's his axe to grind. But I feel like he really fuels deconstruction. I mean, I have a coworker that Greg Boyd was his exit path from Christianity, and I feel like he definitely was that way for me. I am not obsessed with him anymore, and by a lot of barometers, he is progressive, but for me at this point, he's a little too conservative. He wants to get tattooed by me, actually, and I need to email him today.
Yeah, you need to do that.
For sure. He's a trippy dude. I do like him, and I am fascinated by the way his mind works, but I've definitely grown to disagree with a lot of his stuff, but I still identify as an open theist. We were talking about, my lack of willingness just to subscribe to the idea of destiny. And so, I believe the future's partially made up of possibilities, which is a Greg Boyd thing. But, I definitely, there's some theology that I've gotten from him that I haven't let go of. But he's been a part of my deconstruction, but I feel like, I don't know how else to put it other than I feel like I've moved past my Greg Boyd phase.
Yeah.
But anyway, as far as your question about other churches, I mean, I definitely spent a lot of time at Woodland Hills, but I can't really spend any more time at churches that are not fully LGBTQ affirming.
Yeah.
I just can't do that anymore. I've done it my whole life, and it's just become a line in the sand for me. And everyone's on their own journey and, whatever, but I just can't in any way support or be affiliated or even like share space where it's not fully, to use a common vernacular, safe space for LGBTQ. So anyway, right now, I mean, there's a lot of United Methodist churches in Minneapolis that are fully inclusive of LGBTQ folks, but I haven't checked them out. So there was a church that I really liked where our classroom was in the Jordan neighborhood in North Minneapolis that did a really great what's it called, a food shelf on Thursday nights, and I thought that was really cool. I loved unloading the trucks and packing up groceries and carrying them in people's cars on Thursdays. That was really rad. But and actually it was really cool because it's a predominantly African American church in a predominantly African American neighborhood. It's really small, and it's just way different than Woodland Hills. Woodland Hills is essentially a white megachurch in St. Paul, which, I mean, it's cool, but that's not really what I'm trying to invest myself in.
Well, Clifton, thanks, man, for being on today. Thanks for doing this last minute, and hopefully some.
Speaking of God things, it
Yeah.
just kind of fell into our lap.
Yes,
Yeah.
and hopefully some people will come in. You'll get some followers on
Oh yeah, why don't you plug
Instagram.
plug yourself on social media?
Yeah, my main Instagram is at Clifton W. Carter Jr.
No spaces or anything?
No. And no underscores, no spaces. But yeah, follow me on Instagram. And yeah, Leviticus Tattoo. Definitely check them out.
Cool. Thanks, Clifton.
Thanks,
yeah,
Clifton.
thank you guys.
Yeah.
We'd like to remind you that our ministry is supported 100% by listeners like you. To make your 100% tax-deductible donation today, please visit revolutionchurch.com/donate. You can also learn more by clicking the donate section on the website.
Hi, I'm Caleb with Post Christian Podcasting. If you enjoyed this episode, you might also like The Sacred Collective.
So that's the first, that's like chapter 1 and 2 and 3.
Yeah.
There's so many questions I can ask. Caleb, do you?
I did have a question. This is kind of personal. If you don't want to answer, you obviously don't have to. I was just curious, like, you said you were falling in love. Because obviously you had committed, or you were in the process of committing to being a nun, and so there was a lot on the line there. And so I'm just curious, what was so strong about your attraction? It sounds like what attracted you to wanting to be a nun has a lot to do with, being compassionate and caring.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that bled into all the adoption and the foster care and things like that. Were those traits that you saw in Carol that attracted you so much to her?
She's strong. She's really strong. And all of the values that I have were her exact values, too. And we complemented each other a lot in that, like, she's really practical, and I'm probably more excited. Let's go do this. And so we really balanced each other really well. But I think her strong commitment to justice and God, and she's awesome. As one of the people at church said, she is just a little bundle of awesome. And she is.
Agreed.
Yeah. Nice.
And but I was aware, like, I was actually sitting in church at like 6:30 in the morning, and Carol was playing guitar, and I'm sitting in the pews. And I just thought, she's so stunning. And I just thought, everybody has got to be noticing how stunning she is. And so I look around thinking everybody's going to be staring at Carol because she's so awesome. And in fact, all of them are like looking at their Bibles, praying their rosary, looking at their toes, looking at the priest, whatever. And I was like, they're all nuns. Of course they're not looking at Carol, they're praying. We're in the middle of Mass here.
Right.
So it was just like, oh, Kathy, really? Yeah, falling in love. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a Post Christian podcast.